Hey guys, so today's episode is my conversation with Josh Gettler and Deena Stern from Ace the Moon, which is not your regular tennis brand. They have such a different and exciting tennis lifestyle brand, and if you don't know them yet, I promise you will love their stuff once you check them out. We discussed their story, the inspiration behind their brand, and some exciting things happening around the country in the tennis industry. Did you know that out in California, they have companies that just run live ball clinics? We talked about why adults nowadays are not so interested in match play, but more in tennis, fun, and fitness. And we talked about why pros need to have a personal brand. I had so much fun talking with them, and they're offering a 20% discount to Vita Tennis listeners. Just use the code VITA20 at checkout from their website, acethemoon.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Vita Tennis, the podcast for those of us who eat, sleep, breathe tennis. I'm Jennifer Gelhaus, and today I am talking with Josh Gettler and Deena Stern from Ace the Moon, a tennis and pickleball lifestyle brand that they launched in 2021 in Santa Monica, California. Josh is a tennis pro in Santa Monica, and he's originally from the East Coast as he grew up in Connecticut and lived in New York City doing commercial real estate for nearly 20 years. He moved to California right before COVID to pursue his passion and make his LA dreams come true. Deena is a seasoned entertainment and lifestyle marketing executive holding various roles across NBC Universal, Viacom, and Fox Entertainment. She's also from the East Coast, born and raised in New Jersey, with a racket in her hand. She played D3 college tennis in New England at Brandeis University. Welcome, Josh and Deena, to Vita Tennis. I'm so excited to talk to you today and learn about both of you and, of course, Ace the Moon. But first of all, did I get all of that right?
You totally did. Yeah. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Thank you for being here. So I'm just curious to learn a lot about your tennis. Why did you switch to tennis? Of course, after a 20-year career in real estate, how did that happen? Was that always sort of in the back of your mind, or what's the story there?
Yeah. Well, my career in real estate in New York was really commercial focused, and we worked with a lot of different brands and concepts, from clothing brands to restaurants, hospitality. And, I feel like the last couple of years, there were all these sort of interesting concepts trying to opening up in New York and really all over the country, like sports entertainment type venues, whether it would be like a ping pong concept with food and beverage. So to back up a little bit, Ace the Moon sort of came out of the first concept that Deena was involved in this as well, trying to open, which was really a sports entertainment concept with multi-racket sport, food and beverage, sort of an indoor-outdoor, industrial style type of layout, high ceilings. And it was called Swing. And, this was about 4 years ago now, when I was still living in New York. We put a whole deck together and a whole team, and we're pitching this to investors and trying to get the first one going with the goal of it becoming sort of a national concept. We got close to getting it going. We had a great team, a great deck, and a great vision, which was really pickleball, tennis, other racket sports like paddle, all sort of under one roof with a lot of very cool technology involved, and food and beverage, live music, all that stuff. So long story short, and I probably made that even longer than I should have, but long story short, it didn't get off the ground. That sort of gave me the impetus and momentum to finally say, you know what, kind of done with New York. I moved I moved to LA. I drove out here, and this was about 3-4 months before COVID. And I was still bullish on Swing. Deena is out in LA. I had actually stayed with her for about a month before I got my own place. And we tried getting Swing together in LA, and then COVID hit. So, I guess I just had a thought, or we had the thought of, what if we created something online that would have been our pro shop at Swing. Our vision for the pro shop within Swing, if we ever were to launch that, was different than like your average pro shop in your town or anywhere you would go. It would be, more bespoke, more artisan driven, kind of very California. And, so the Ace of the Moon sort of came out of that thought. And, fast forward 2+ years or so, it's going great. It's aceofthemoon.com is the website. And, we are selling online all over the country, North America. And we also are now carried in about a dozen locations. We sell to Tennis Warehouse. We're in a whole bunch of pro shops and tennis clubs in LA, South Florida, soon to Texas. So yeah, it's going great.
I love that pro shop idea because that's actually how I found you. I was looking for I was starting a pro shop at a club where I was, and I wanted to find unique things, not because I think, if you want to buy a regular tennis outfit, you can just buy that online, right? Or there's 1,000 places that you can go to. So the idea that I had was to make this pro shop, which was new to the club where I was at the time, kind of unique and have things that are different that you don't necessarily find everywhere online. And that's actually how I first found Ace of the Moon. And I found it and I loved it. I saw skeletons. I was like, oh, I love it. This is something that I would totally wear. And from what I saw, it's a much more relaxed, gear. It's not necessarily maybe for playing tennis, but just to kind of wear and representative of the life of a tennis player, I guess. Am I?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You hit the nail on the head with that. We really wanted to look at more lifestyle because, like you said, you can get a tennis outfit on Tennis Warehouse or through Nike, or now it's really the great thing about tennis is it's really exploded, especially in fashion. Where Lululemon, Aloe, every brand now is showing tennis skirts for people who don't even play tennis. You could just go to brunch and want to be in a tennis skirt. So it's really become fashion. So we wanted to be a little different than that, and how you can really take your love for tennis and mix it with other passions you have. You love skeletons, and we luckily had something that was a little bit bohemian, edgy. It was actually a tattoo artist that created that design. So we really went to artists. It was really, like Josh said, about bespoke, really taking artists and, making it really, a lot of them never played tennis, have no affinity for tennis, but really it's the self-expression. And I felt as a tennis player, I also am not what I like to call an equipment girl, where you go onto the court and you see, maybe at a public court or even at a club, you see people decked out in their little cute uniform, which is wonderful for them. I applaud anyone who gets out on the tennis court. But, when I go out, I just wear a t-shirt and bike shorts or leggings, and everyone is probably like, she's not a player. And then they see me play and they're like, wow. But I love wearing something that I would wear off the court too, right? Even if I'm going to brunch after or not going to brunch, the sunsets, mountains, it's kind of mixing all of my passions together. And a lot of people like-minded, like me, into products. So beyond just apparel, right? We're branching out, and we've done also home goods. And I was finding, I come from a tennis family and would want to get presents for my mom and my sister, and couldn't find anything that wasn't kind of mass market. That you buy on Etsy or Amazon, and you have something unique so that when they're wearing it at their club or when they're playing with their friends, someone's like, oh, that is so interesting and different. So it is exciting to see. And then the pro shop idea was just that. Like we'd go traveling, and especially during COVID, driving places all over California, going to, seeing little boutiques that were more gift shops and lifestyle, and thought this is exactly what we want to be for a pro shop, where you can buy stuff not just to play tennis, but all of your love for the sport, and even for other racket sports like pickleball.
Yeah. And I think that's something that pro shops are probably going to be looking for is, unique things to their club. I think what sells usually at a pro shop is the fact that things are logoed with the club's logo. Yeah. And that's why people buy it there. But at the end of the day, you're buying basically the same thing that you can find at Tennis Warehouse, but with your club's logo on it. But anyway, that's how I found you guys. I was looking for something, unique and cool. And the club where I wasn't necessarily like your regular preppy club. So I thought that it would work out perfectly. But yeah, so anyway, that's the story there. But that's so cool. And I love this concept of swing. I hope you guys, I don't know if you are thinking of going back to that, or did you kind of bury that idea, or is that something that you're still working on?
Good question. It's if the stars aligned, and the perfect team sort of came together, perhaps. But, we love this business. Mm-hmm. And we think, it sort of could go in the reverse now. Like, you look at an Aviator Nation, for instance, who's one of like our hero, an amazing brand, the product that they make, and it's all in LA. It's beautiful. It's, such highly crafted goods. And, what they've done, it actually interesting. I stopped in there the other day, right in Santa Monica. They have a spinning and yoga studio, as well as a retail presence. So, and that's pretty new. Within the past year or two, they opened that. So, perhaps we'll see down the road, if Face the Moon could really take off, we could have something similar where, we have a retail presence, perhaps a cafe, some courts, in indoor, outdoor. So we'll see. We're open.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID kind of put a little dagger in those plans, that's
but totally. Yeah. But the beautiful thing is, from a real estate perspective, is developers, landlords, they're looking for creative, concepts to come in and take these spaces. So, it could be something in the cards down the road.
Yeah. And so do you guys do all your own designs, or I know you work with other artists as well, but who does the designing of?
Yes. So we work with a handful of artists. I would say a couple more than others. And, all the ideas sort of come from our brains, like the shirt that you're wearing, for instance, that thought of no man's land, obviously no man's land is a tennis, well, not obviously to the non-tennis player, but no man's land is a tennis saying, and don't want to get caught in that no man's land. So, everything that we do sort of has a double meaning to it. It could be on the tennis court or pickleball court, but also things that just kind of happen in life. So all the ideas sort of kind of stem from those thoughts of on and off the court. And we work with artists to, bring them to life.
By the way, I was doing a lesson the other day, and I always call it no man's land. And this lady said to me, well, Jen, now we call this the ladies' lounge.
Oh, you're gonna have to make a T-shirt for ladies' lounge.
Yeah, exactly. Because, women's tennis leagues all day tell the, don't say no man's land. Don't say no man's land. We call it the ladies' lounge now, because that's where we all want to be.
Okay.
That's so funny. So what about you, Deena? What's your tennis? I know you played college tennis, but did you always kind of want to do something with tennis, or how did that all come about for you?
I mean, tennis is my sport passion and lifestyle, and what I love to do on the weekends. And then career-wise, really working in television and film has always been, my driving force for a career. I dabbled after college in playing, a couple of satellite tournaments and qualifying matches for US Open, but I definitely was not good enough and really wanted to get into television. Luckily enough, I worked at USA Network, which was airing the US Open at the time. So, and I was doing marketing. So I got to spend every day of the 2 weeks at the US Open on site, working with the producers, for USA Network on the US Open. So that was just incredible. And it opened my eyes a little bit more to the sports marketing world that I thought could be an area to pursue, but then just continued with television and series and comedy. And living in New York, it's so hard to play tennis because just getting court time, expensive. Also, the industry I'm in is really brutal and tough and long hours. So I'd say I would probably go for months without playing and then go down to Florida to see my family and be able to play. And I would try to at least play every other week or join a doubles group to play. And then an opportunity came to move to California. I took it. And I do say that it was a great job and opportunity, but it was really a lifestyle change where I could play tennis almost whenever I wanted. Right. The accessibility of courts in Los Angeles is much easier, although now some are being taken over by pickleball courts. But for me, joining Josh in the, different businesses was a way to kind of freshen up and mix my creative juices with my marketing and business experience and mix it with tennis. So that's really what kind of drove me to get involved in it. And I'm in a job now where I'm not as creatively in a marketing. I still run marketing, but it's not as creatively driven. It's more business side of things. And I really missed doing experiential marketing and activations and product development. So this was really a great way, especially during COVID, where things were a little bit slower on the work side, to, get my creativity, my branding knowledge, and mix all of that together. So really taking that, I've worked on some comedy. I worked at Comedy Central, which is a television network, but it's also a comedy brand. So what's exciting about that is how do you take a television network and make it feel like a lifestyle? And that's what we're doing too. How do we make Ace the Moon more of a lifestyle, not just a tennis brand? And if we do any kind of on-site events or actually develop a club or, work with local clubs to do any kind of tournaments, sponsorships, that just kind of combines my kind of career, which defines a little bit of who I am, with my passion for tennis. So that's a little bit of why I decided to go into it. It's been really great. And even working with all the artists was really exciting. I mean, one thing that I kind of drew out the first time was a wall hanging that I thought I love Moon, which is why we loved Ace the Moon, the name, incorporating tennis and the moon and all the wonderful things about the universe. And I drew out a wall hanging, and we just now launched it, and it came to life with an artist. So, and I have family who are potters and big tennis fans. My uncle played at Temple University in Philadelphia. My cousin played at University of Vermont. So we're all into tennis and we're artisans. So it's just a really great way to blend those two passions.
That's so fun. I gotta say, like, I'm starting to find my creative side, I guess. I never thought that I was creative. And now I'm growing Vita Tennis. I just started my own business and growing this podcast. And I'm just having so much fun with that too. So, it's so fun. And what you're saying about the seasonality of tennis in New York is so true. I've been working in the Northeast for over 10 years at seasonal clubs. And that's always been the issue, right? Even New York people, but even like Boston people, now that in Massachusetts, it's just so hard for them to play tennis during the year because of all the things you mentioned. It's expensive. You can't get courts. It's far away. Everything's complicated, right? And that's why people there play so much in the summer. And, they go to their summer home if they're fortunate enough to do that. And just play like every day. And it's so fun. That's where I come in, and I'm there to teach them and spend that time with them. But now there's all these kind of cool things happening in New York too. I just saw in Central Park, they're opening this pickleball thing.
It's insane. Yeah.
That's so exciting. I
have a lot of friends who they go there every weekend now, and they would never play tennis with me. They were not tennis players. They're athletes, but they go to the gym and they like to run, and now they're out playing pickleball, which is great about that sport, right? You could be tennis and pickleball, but it's great that it's getting people out there and moving their bodies in any way they can. And then maybe it'll help people realize that tennis is not, it's definitely a hard sport, but maybe pickleball and people playing it will lead them to maybe try out tennis a little bit more.
How long ago were you covering the US Open?
Very long time ago, 1997 until USA Network lost the rights, which was probably 2006. So up until I worked there, and I would bring my rackets. And I was, a mid-level marketing executive, and this was a lot before the internet. And my role was to report the scores of the day and who's playing on the courts the next day on air on USA Network to USA Today. So I just have to be on site, and just the action and knowing how they would select who goes on what court, and the strategy of that, of knowing who's going to get the most viewership was really cool. Again, mixing a sport that I love with, a medium of television that I love too. So it was really great to just sit there, and I would be able to have lunch with Tracy Austin in the studio and walk around. When they opened up Arthur Ashe Stadium, I was just walking around and found a door, opened it, and I'm on center court. And I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I mean, it was empty. No one was playing yet. It was like 7:00 in the morning, but it's just such an amazing experience being there that, when we yeah. I mean, and it led me to want to potentially work for the USTA and do marketing there. But, I stayed in the television realm.
Gotcha. That's so cool. And I always wonder how that works, because I feel like it's so difficult, and I'm not blaming the tennis channel, but I feel like it's so difficult to watch tennis in the US. It keeps changing. Like, I got YouTube TV mainly because they were showing tennis. They had the tennis channel, then they didn't have it. Then you have to have the tennis channel app. And like, I just went to Canada, and everywhere I went, they were showing tennis. They were showing the Miami Open in Canada. Every restaurant, at the hotel room, like, I could watch tennis literally anywhere without any problem.
Interesting.
And here you don't get that in the US. It's so strange.
Yeah.
I see it growing a little bit. I mean, I live in Beverly Hills, and I'll walk down, near Rodeo Drive, and there'll be a restaurant that will have a random tennis match on that I didn't even know, like a Detroit tournament or something like that. So it is on a rare occasion where you'll be at a bar or a restaurant and see it on. So I think it's growing a little bit, but you're right about Tennis Channel to make it really inaccessible to watch it. Only on, certain platforms can you watch it with a certain subscription. And I think that they're trying to modernize their coverage and what they're showing also on their network, making it more lifestyle focused.
I wonder how that's going to go with pickleball, and as pickleball is growing and pro pickleball and all that, how
they're covering pickleball now.
Yeah, Tennis Channel, yeah, more so than tennis, I think.
Yeah. And CBS Sports does a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
I
was going to ask if you're a pickleball player as well, but probably not.
No, I am. I mean, I don't play it as much. I always say I am a tennis player, but I do play pickleball. I play padel too. I enjoy it. It's good. I have anger issues when it comes to pickleball. I get so frustrated because the ball, it just bounces so weird. It's like a little plastic ball, I just find it really frustrating.
Especially if it gets windy and, down in Florida, like you're dealing with the elements sometimes, and that little ball could carry, anywhere. And it's tough.
It's a different ball game, but it's really fun, and it has a lot of attention now. And I think a lot of it is tennis players going into pickleball that has helped grow pickleball. But I think eventually, I'm hoping that we figure out a way to get people that maybe just came into pickleball to show them tennis and bring them into tennis. So I think that, and that's the next step, is figuring out how to attract those players. So now they're playing both, not just pickleball, but
exactly.
You
can have a lot of injuries playing both. Josh has gotten injured. My mom plays both. It's really because you're using a different part of your muscles, and in each, you have to kind of cool it down a little bit more, take it from a 10 to like a 5 with pickleball.
Totally. Yeah. I got tennis elbow, which lasted a couple weeks from playing pickleball. I think it was from playing pickleball. I'm pretty sure, and I teach and play so much tennis, and I knock on wood, hardly ever get injured or have tennis elbow. So yeah, the two sports, it's could be, somewhat of a challenge to play both.
Are you teaching both?
No, I just teach tennis.
Oh, okay. And are you actively teaching? Like, Is it like a full-time thing for you?
It's really a part-time, and it also kind of started during COVID. I was like, you know what, I'm playing a lot of tennis. Let me see if I could teach. I put up an ad, I think on Craigslist initially. And, then I met one of the main instructors here in Santa Monica. Pete Fox is his name. And, when he came up to me, I thought he was going to tell me I'm not allowed to teach on the court, but he asked me if I could teach some of his classes. In Santa Monica, we have what's called these community classes where people sign up through the city of Santa Monica, and they're very cheap. They're 8 weeks long, adult classes. And, that I never really taught tennis, or especially a group of 6 to 8 adults, and, kind of, got thrown in the fire a little bit in a good way, and learn how to teach and, these group classes, and with a lot of fun games, and live ball is very big out here in California. So I learned a lot. And, since then I still teach group classes, and I do mostly privates, one-on-one, two-on-one lessons. I teach, it depends on the week, but somewhere in the 10-hour a week range. I try to get a couple hours a day on the court.
Both of you come from, such a business and marketing background. Are there any things that you guys see going on in the tennis industry now that you have a closer look at it, that you're like, oh man, this really needs to change. We should do this. We should do that. Has any light bulb moments there?
Yeah. I mean, as I peruse social media all the time, I'm getting targeted all the brands that are tennis, because I'm always looking around for it. And there's really that explosion. I don't know if there's anything like of envy within what brands are doing or what people are doing with tennis. I think it's more like we're talking about the aviator nations, because we can't compete with like a Vori or an Alo or a Lululemon. But so there are sometimes we see products they're making that we're like, oh, we should do that, or we can take that and bring it into our perspective a little bit more on the chill, low-key California vibe. There's other brands like, I think they're more retail brands that we look at, in fashion brands, rather than just what they're doing in the tennis industry. But, to the point of live ball that Josh brings up, all over LA, there's a lot of, live ball companies, and they bring different spots.
Live ball? I'm sorry.
I am not a fan of live ball, but Josh can explain it better because he taught it.
So live ball is essentially king of the court.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's a game.
Yeah. It's kind of a modified king of the court, play best out of 5 essentially. And, the feeds, like you feed to, the person on the deuce side of the court, it's doubles. They have to hit it cross court. So basically the challenger side has to win 4. I play 4 points to get before the king side wins 2, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It's a format. It's kind of a king of the court format game.
Correct. So if
there are clinics based around that, like that's all you do for the whole clinic?
That is all. I mean, it's most of the clubs are doing, because you can get more people on the court at once. So I think that's why they do it, because you can get an unlimited amount for 2 hours on the court rather than just having, a doubles match.
It's like a fitness class almost.
Exactly. And,
I take serve out too, similar to pickleball, and why pickleball I think has gotten so popular is, when you take the serve out of the game, it's kind of like pitching in baseball, like it slows the game down so much. People get a little nervous. So live ball, it's all feeding, it's all, just ground strokes and volleys. So, it just speeds everything up, and people love, in a 45-minute or hour and 15-minute type of class, people are really burning probably, 1,000 calories easily,
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. It's fun for a lot.
Yeah. And there's every time I look at anything at the Miami Open, or even when we go to Indian Wells here in California, there's a lot of companies that are doing promotional events that they're aggregating other brand sponsorships to have mini tournaments or just days on the court and lessons. But then you have an alcohol brand, another clothing brand, all different, a beauty brand that participate in it. And those are the kinds of things we'd love to get involved in and do more of, to really experience the brand and our product one-on-one, right? So you can kind of see it in person, but then also enjoy what we're about in the lifestyle of tennis. So there's, we definitely have, I look more, at different brands and think, oh, wow, like we would love to be in the space and doing something that they're doing, making tennis more accessible to people also in different cities. And I think that's maybe the next step for us as we, make more money, get more brand awareness, more equity, and have more time to, really build out the, activations and on-site brand. I mean, to be at the US Open would be ideal.
Yeah, that would be amazing for sure. But you were saying something about live ball, and how do we end up talking about live ball? I forget.
Because there's out here in LA, and I think in other cities, there's nightly events. I know here, I think it's every Thursday night at 7:00 at a hotel. The court is taken over by it's a company called Live Ball.
Oh, okay.
It's initialed like LV, maybe. And people love it, and they go there, and they'll do other kinds of events on the weekends and we participated once with some brands. So it's really great to have that. But the concept of doing some kinds of drilling would be great if we can own that.
Yes, you see that a lot in the clubs in the Northeast and some of the seasonal clubs here in Florida too. Not so much with live ball, but with a game called 105.
Yep, I know 105. I do that in classes too, yeah.
Yeah, there's clinics that are just centered around 105. That's all you do. And people love it because of exactly what you were saying. It's a lot faster than playing a match. There's no like mental pressure, right? It's no pressure. It's just fun, social workout type of thing. There's no ego. There's no feelings hurt if you win or lose or, so it's a lot more fun for people. So yeah, so that's interesting.
Totally. Another good game, by the way, and we did an event. I don't know if you know Michelle Krause.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Michelle, we've been connected with her. She, was helping us with swing actually a few years back. And she was just in town doing a cardio triples event. I don't know if you've ever done triples.
Yeah.
But that's another fun one.
Not with her, but I know the game, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something, we'd like to sort of bring to the forefront in LA a little bit more. Most people don't really know triples. It's similar to live ball, and 105. Like it's fun. It's easy. Like you don't have to think too much. And just to explain it quickly, you play with I believe it's a red dot, or is it an orange dot?
Casey does it with an orange dot ball. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's self-feeding as well. So there's 3 people on each side, the person at the two at the base, one sort of at the tee.
Mm-hmm.
And the person at the baseline just feeds it and they play the point out. You could play with 2 bounces. And then what she does is she just puts a timer to it, and each game is 10 minutes long, and each team keeps their own score. So, we thought it was really, really cool and easy to follow. So something I'm starting to incorporate now in some of my group classes and some events that we're going to be doing locally.
Yeah. I usually play with a yellow ball. So if you get pegged, you get pegged. And one
ball lighter. Is it softer than the other 2, than the red and orange? Does it go red, orange, yellow?
It goes red, orange, green, yellow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So I just play with a regular yellow ball if I'm with adults. And it's always really interesting with the 2 net players. They can go at each other for sure. But that's kind of what makes it fun too.
I loved it. I afterwards, I said to Josh, I need to play this all the time. It just was nice to play with, again, as a strong female player, to play with other females who could kind of play at your level with a lighter ball, like depressurized. So
yeah, a lot of times people don't realize that tennis is not necessarily go out and play a match. There's so many different ways that you can play the game and still have fun and get a workout, and you don't have to be all serious about it either.
Yeah, I don't, as a former college player, I do not love playing matches. I don't know why. I just don't, I have so many pressures during the day, 5 days a week at work. that when I get on the court, I don't want to have to feel that anxiety anymore.
Yes.
And I love just hitting. And it really, to me, is an escape where I just clear my mind of everything else that's going on and just focus on the ball, me and the ball and the court. And, you know, I'm not always out there even when we hit to play to win. Like, I just love to keep the ball in play, to get out there and just keep it in play. I don't have to go for winners all the time.
It's like being a kid again.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And it seems like here in LA, I mean, I've been out here about 3.5 years. You know, I'm on the public courts a lot. I hardly ever see people play matches. You know, most people are just out there just to hit and have fun, you know, which is interesting. I don't know if that is the same in the rest of the country. You know, I know
that a lot. And I thought that, because I just had actually the same conversation with Jose Benjumea, who's a pro, and we were talking about this. And I thought maybe it was because of the type of clubs where we were at, where money's not an issue. People can just play in a clinic anytime, no problem. And also that combined with not having that pressure, right? Of I'm going to lose, not having that fear, that anxiety of the result of the match. You're just playing for the enjoyment and the fun of it. So I personally thought that it was just kind of a freak thing that we were seeing at our clubs, but out in California, same thing. And you're not at private clubs, right? You're at public facilities, or where are you?
Mostly public courts. Yeah. Like my teaching permit is Santa Monica Public Courts.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, coming from New York, where it was a very competitive environment, people, you know, you get out there and within 3 minutes you're playing a match. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have a couple friends out here that only want to play matches, and I get that. But, you know, for the most part, for the most part, it's pretty relaxed out here, and people just want to get some cardio in and have fun.
Yeah. Now, you guys are both kind of marketing experts. Even you, Josh, I think you've done such a good job. I saw your coaching website when I was looking you up, having a personal brand as a tennis coach, and not just as a tennis coach. I think it's more of a modern day thing, is to have your own personal brand in your social media, whatever it is. Can you guys maybe speak a little bit about that and how that can help a tennis pro that now that you guys are in this world?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how it developed for me personally, and it's still, you know, I guess blossoming in so many ways. But just, you know, do you know, show your personality, show your strengths, show your weaknesses, you know, have fun with it. And, you know, I think the key is just be genuine and, you know, I think that will create engagement with the audience when you're showing things that actually have happened to you, or, you know, things that you need to improve on, or things that you're great at that you want to show people. You know, I don't know if that totally answered your question, but
yeah, I like where you're going. I like this show your weaknesses thing, because that's not something you normally hear. So yeah, if you can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching a lot of pros do, you know, and we've done some, and we want to do more, but like just improvement type drills on the court. You know, it could be the toss, or it could be, you know, anything, any stroke, or, you know, warm up drills. You know, the internet, it's just been amazing. I literally learned how to teach tennis by watching other people teach on YouTube and give pointers. So, I mean, it's just, everything's just now open for us to see and sort of emulate off of, and now do our own thing with it.
We have so many opportunities now. To your point, everyone has their own personal brand, right? So it used to be a product had a brand, but now everyone has a brand. It's all open on social media. So to Josh's point on that authenticity, you know, if someone's looking to find a specific tennis pro, someone might be really intense and want to just work on the same stroke over and over again. Someone who's a more playful tennis pro might not be the right person for them. So it is, you know, if someone wants to just have fun, you have to really focus on what your strengths are as a pro and what you're bringing to that person or to the table.
And I know for me as a as a pro, and I'm putting that in quotes because I'm not like a lifelong type of pro. I'm not a technical guy. I know nothing about strings. I don't know anything about how you should hold your grip, but I do know how to hit and have fun. And I think, I've developed my own style coaching, which, most people seem to, receive well. And, everyone has their own style, and you have to, so certain people like Pete Fox, for instance, who I teach for, he's a very technical guy. He could talk to you all day about the continental versus the Eastern grip, or, how to string a racket, but those types of things don't really come into my brain. I'm more about just hitting, and just hitting and have fun, getting a proper stroke, keeping your eye on the ball, just the more simple things. Mm-hmm. and repetition, just getting a lot of hits in will get most, if not everybody, to the next level pretty quickly.
And what would you guys say has been the most challenging thing, whether it is with teaching for you, Josh, or with Ace the Moon, as you've come into this world? What has been the biggest challenge for you guys?
Good question. I mean, there's a lot of them, being so small, it's tough to get, you really have to stay on top of every little thing with this business, from design to production. We're dealing with printers, here in LA, people who create patches and produce cut and sew clothing. So, being a small brand and ordering, very small quantities of everything, you could tend to get pushed down to the bottom of the list with a lot of people here, because, people are very busy here. Yeah. And, you have to just be a good dude and be on top of it all, and just be yourself. And, slowly but surely people start recognizing, like, okay, this guy's cool. Like, he love his stuff. He's on, you're on top of everything. And, you start getting more attention and I guess respect at the end of the day. But, starting any business is super hard. You really have to, it's a 24/7 job. I mean, I've got, even my dad, for instance, he's like, go get a job. And I'm like, no, this is, I'm working harder at this than I've worked at anything else in my life. And
jealous that Josh gets to do it full time, and that I have like a full-time job where I have to.
Yeah. I mean, there's not literally, it could be 7:00 in the morning or 10:00 at night, and there's always going to be something to do with this business. And Jen, I'm sure you're experiencing the same with all the things that you're doing. It's different. I'm not selling a piece of property in Manhattan,
But you gotta love it though, right? You have to love it, because otherwise you get burned out and it feels like a lot of work. But if you actually enjoy it, then it's
absolutely different. Love it. And as much as we've created in a short 1.5 to 2 years, I feel like we're only at the very beginning of this.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are endless.
One other challenge, as we're talking and thinking about it, is one of the questions before is, when you're starting something up, hearing kind of all the peanut gallery, right? Like we're both really good at asking for advice from people we know and we kind of respect and admire, and using their expertise and how they can help us out. But then, of course, you have some of your friends and family who just think at every moment that it's so easy to start a new brand. And they're, instead of asking, did you look at this? Have you tried this? They're like, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should do this. And you're like, if it were only that easy. So I think that's the other thing about kind of balancing a startup and running your own business, is just hearing from everybody else who thinks that they can do it also, right? And sometimes I have to say, if you love this idea, then come help us with
it. Yeah, knowing what also your vision and what you want to do with it, and not letting other people influence.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do it with a smile, but I'll be out shopping with my friends, And there's tons of tennis products out there right now. And they'll be like, oh, this makes this, you should do something like this for Ace the Moon, or you should do this. And it's the traditional cross tennis rackets. And I was like, oh, were they anti-preppy? Were they not anti, we love it. I have clothes like that, but that's not, there's no white space for that. It's been done.
I know what you mean, but that's why I like you guys.
Yeah, but that's what we want, like to be a little bit different and not as traditional as people have seen. But I say to them, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Instead of, because some people just really don't understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we love that you get it right away.
Yeah.
Yes. What were you going to say, Josh?
No, I was just going to say, and things, good things come from good things and the hard work. And you never know who you're going to meet, or collaborate with. Like, for instance, you and the people, watching this, something could come of that. We're doing an event in a couple weeks up here it's beautiful in the canyons of the Hollywood Hills, called Vermont Canyon, and a tennis coach we connected with, her name's Lisa Philpe. So, we just made some t-shirts and hats with Vermont Canyon patches. And, it's just, my point is, it's just interesting who you're going to connect with, what the possibilities of people, two heads, coming together, and three heads, and coming up with, just fun things that you could be doing together, whether it's products or events or both.
Yeah.
So it's very fun.
Yeah. I just want to get I'm sorry.
I just say we'd love to get like celebrity endorsement would be like, the ultimate for us.
Yes. Yes.
Got a little here and there, but no one so big.
We do have Annette Bening. I don't know, Jen, if you know Annette Bening. She's an actress.
No.
Yeah, she's like, was she in her 60s?
I don't know. I think she's closer to 70s, but yeah, we have product placement in a movie.
Cool.
I think it's a TV series.
I don't think it's.
Oh, I'm not, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're not
That's where I know my TV rules come in.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, yeah. But anyway, but things are happening, and, it's got to happen organically, and it comes from the passion and the hard work, and things will happen. So it's all
and
good.
the collaboration that we have, right? And the trust that we have with each other. It's tough having business partners, and, especially with the time that, I have a full-time job. So doing it kind of on the side and balancing it, and, making sure that we trust each other in decisions we're making.
Right. And Deena, I know you have to go here soon, but before we lose you, I did want to ask you what has been the Grand Slam moment of your life and the double bagel moment of your life. So your high and your low, before you go, really quick.
Honestly, being on a college tennis team for me really taught me, it's not just one moment, but I would need to do something because I've always played sports. So playing it in college and having that camaraderie with these amazing females was really special. And one of the women on my team is my lifelong, close friend. And it was really, you just meet so many different people, interact with different people. We had all over the world also that were playing on our team. And it also taught me a lot about how to persevere in my career and in the business world. I think it's really important for women who have the ability to play sports and the skill to do it, because it teaches you about teamwork and about appreciating others, collaboration, especially on the doubles. But, tennis is I played singles, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's not a team sport. You're out there alone, but your score contributes to the bigger score. So that's really important. So I do think when I look back at my college experience, if I had not had that, I think it would be I'd be a very different person professionally also. I think my double bagels, I've been double bageled many times.
Is it being double bageled?
But, I don't think of life that way. But if I had to look at it, I think when we lost the US Open at USA Network, because I actually left right after that, not intentionally, but it was a sad day to not have to go there all the time.
Yeah.
No, I just feel really lucky to grow up in this sport, and it's always been something everyone in my family plays. It almost defined me in high school a little bit too much. And even now, everyone knows that I love it. When they think of me, it's like, Deena, oh, tennis. But yeah, it really is just the camaraderie and the people you meet.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But I know you got to go, so
Yes,
please
I do.
feel
Thank
free
you.
to go. I'll stay with Josh for a little bit.
Okay,
And,
enjoy.
thank you so
Have
much
fun.
for participating.
Thank you. It was great meeting you.
You too.
Thanks, Deena.
Thank you. All right, Josh.
Just
So-
the two of us.
What's that? Yeah, just the two of us. Yeah. So yeah, Josh, if you can maybe share the same, your high and your low, your grand slam moment and your double bagel moment. It's hard for people to think of their double bagel moment.
I was trying to think of my answer. I don't quite know yet. I feel like, things are, starting to really take off and happen for me. And, I guess, I realized like I felt like maybe I was a late bloomer in a lot of ways with, living in New York and getting into real estate, kind of in a way was like an easy way out for me. And I realized down the road that, it wasn't really my thing. I didn't really have the passion for it, or, it wasn't really using my creative juices enough, or I didn't know I had these creative juices. Like that sort of came, when I hit 40, 41 and moved out to California. So again, I don't know if this totally answers your question, but I feel like, my lows, kind of are in the past, and, everything that I'm doing and trying to do in my life now is moving forward. And similar to tennis, and what I teach people is, hey, like that first instinct should be moving forward on the court. And, I know you see it because you're a tennis pro as well. You see people moving backwards, like as soon as the ball gets fed.
Yeah.
And to me, like, that's like my metaphor in life is just keep going forward, and you might have some defeats along the way, and a lot of people are ignoring you and no email responses, but you get one or two and you're like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just kind of the way I think about things. And
Yeah, of course.
I probably did not answer your question, but you do have a bagel shirt coming to you, and tell me, our bagel t-shirt, right?
I haven't seen that one.
I'll send you one. This thought, I don't know if you could really see it on the camera.
Better bagel, better tennis.
Yeah. So the thought sort of came from, like, I love eating bagels a little too much, and I love playing tennis, and, the double bagel and getting bageled in tennis is not necessarily a good thing. But when you do go eat a bagel after you play tennis, that's a good thing. So we basically created a t-shirt of where to play tennis on the West Side in LA, which is where I live in Santa Monica.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then go eat a bagel after. And surprisingly, it's not New York here. I know it's not New York City.
Yeah.
But we do have some pretty decent bagel places in LA. And this on the back sort of just kind of maps it out.
Yeah.
With it. Actually, if you could see, like, there's like literally like Google coordinates. So we actually, there's a tennis club a few blocks away from me, Santa Monica Tennis Club, and they actually now have Santa Monica Pickleball Center. The owner, John, loved the tees so much, he initially bought some, and then we created a whole new design for him. We did one that says Santa Monica Tennis Bagel, and then we did one for Santa Monica Pickleball. So like where to play pickleball and go eat a pickleball after. So we did those custom for his shop.
That's so fun. I love all your stuff. I always joke around. I always say that someday I'll move to California because I don't know. I don't have any connection to California. I've been there 3 times. People always ask me if I'm from there, and I'm like, nope. Yeah. I've only been there 3 times. My only connection is being obsessed with Red Hot Chili Peppers and No Doubt growing up. That's really. Yeah. I'm from Venezuela. I'm not even from the U.S.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Venezuelan, born and raised, and then came here for college when I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And been here since. But someday I dream of moving to California as well.
Yeah, I've been listening. It's not all what the movies show you, and it's really nothing like the movies.
Expensive.
It's not perfect out here by any stretch, but there is sort of an air of, for at least for me, like an air of like, I don't know, hope, optimism, creativity. There's something in the air out here, the crispness of it, compared to Florida, where I've spent a lot of time, not necessarily Tampa, but my folks are down in South Florida. And I don't know, something out here that just, with the mountains and the beach, feeling that nice cold air a lot of the time, a lot of the year, is just, it gets the brain working a little bit for me. So it's been a good move. We'll see if it's my forever home. Who knows? But it's been a good move. I say everyone should live in California once, and New York once.
Yeah.
See if they like it. No.
Yeah. I'm pretty settled here in Florida too, and I do like it. I like having good weather year round.
Florida's amazing. I mean, if I wasn't here, I'd be down there, I think. So.
Yeah. Josh, thank you so much for everything and taking the time. This has been so fun. And please tell people where they can find you, where they can find Ace the Moon, obviously the website, if they want to reach out to you personally.
Sure. So the website is it's acethemoon.com, acethemoon.com. Our Instagram is acethemoon_LA. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is josh@acethemoon.com. I think that's probably it. Yeah, my tennis teaching website, joshtennis.com. And yeah, reach out to me. Maybe we could talk about creating a code or something like that for your audience.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to Vita Tennis. Remember, the code for 20% off at Ace the Moon is VITA20. You can follow Vita Tennis on social media, on Facebook as Vita Tennis, and on Instagram as Vita Tennis Podcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time.